Solar panels. They are these really cool things that produce electricity without contributing to our ever expanding problems of global warming. They're everywhere around us. They're on houses and buildings, in open deserts, and even my calculator here has a tiny little pack of 4 solar cells. Thing is though, a lot of us don't really know how solar panels even work. I mean, sure, we all know they absorb light from the sun, and then, using its energy, the solar panels magically turn it into electricity that you're using right now to watch me draw in a notebook about them. But it turns out the way solar panels turn light energy into electrical energy is a lot simpler than it sounds, and really just has some simple chemistry involved in it. And it is here that I show you the endless hole of research I dove into about the secrets of how solar panels work. Electricity is really the flow of electrons moving in one direction. Looking at the copper wire drawn below, it is filled with billions and billions of copper atoms. Each copper atom has 29 protons and electrons, but for simplicity, I will draw each copper atom as a single electron, because copper has only one valence electron, and the valence electrons are the key particles in generating electricity. When we place a battery in between two ends of a wire, the positive and negative ends of the battery propel the electrons through the wire as shown, creating an electrical current. This electrical current also has the secondary effect of producing heat, which is important to remember because too much heat in a system can lead to inefficiency, or even set the entire system on fire. Besides batteries, there is another way to get electrons moving to create electricity, which is what this video's main topic is. This is a diagram of a typical solar panel's atomic structure. Silicon, the main element in solar panels, has 4 valence electrons, and it usually bonds with itself in a square-based formation, with each atom creating 4 single bonds with 4 other atoms as shown. The silicon is surrounded by aluminum atoms with exactly half-filled shells, and I'll explain why in a moment. Before all of this though, we need to know that the silicon in solar panels isn't exactly pure silicon. The silicon in solar panels is actually always mixed with several impurities. In solar panels specifically, 2 special kinds of silicon are used, P-type and N-type silicon. P-type silicon is made by doping silicon with boron atoms in a ratio of about 5 to 10,000 silicon atoms for every boron atom. Why boron, you ask? Boron has only 3 valence electrons, which leaves holes for electrons in the silicon-based structure. N-type silicon is the opposite. It's made by doping silicon with phosphorus, an element with 5 valence electrons. As a result, N-type silicon will have extra electrons floating around within its structure. In a solar panel, each solar cell has P-type silicon on one side and N-type silicon on the other, creating an electric field, where the P side will be positively charged, while the N side will be negatively charged. When a ray of sun hits a solar cell, it can knock an electron out of position, leaving a solo electron and a temporary hole. This hole and electron are both free to move within the cell, but because of the electric field, the electron moves towards the end of the N-type silicon, while the hole does the opposite. These electrons are then collected by the aluminum at the ends of the cell, and with the energy from the sun, are able to move and produce electricity as normal, before falling back into a hole once more and repeating the cycle. This cycle of an electron being displaced to create electricity within a solar cell doesn't always happen though, as there are many factors that can reduce a solar panel's overall efficiency. One of the biggest factors, ironically, is heat itself. In fact, a solar panel running in the winter can convert sun rays into electricity up to 20% more efficiently than a solar panel running in the summer. Why is this? Let's say an electron that is 10 degrees Celsius in temperature has this much energy before being hit by a sun ray. When it gets hit, this electron is excited by the sun and gains more energy as shown. In the end, this electron produces this much energy in electricity. However, an electron that is, let's say, 30 degrees Celsius starts off with more energy, because heated particles will always have more potential energy. But when this electron gets hit by a sun ray, it will have just as much energy as the 10-degree electron that got hit, and thus produce less energy. So, we have this paradox, which explains why the technology behind solar panels took decades to create. Solar panels need to absorb sun rays to produce electricity, but these sun rays also heat up a solar panel at the same time, making it less efficient. In short, for a solar panel to be optimally efficient, we need it to absorb sun rays without heating up from the sun rays, which, when you think about it, sounds pretty much impossible for any material. I mean, how can a material absorb sunlight without heating up? Can any material even absorb sunlight without heating up? It turns out, as paradoxical as this sounds, this is possible, well, to a certain extent. Solar panels can be cooled in various external methods. One common method is spraying cool water occasionally on the solar panels. Another method involves placing a transparent thin silica SiO2 cover over the solar panel, which will cool the panel faster by distributing heat more evenly across it. There is one method, though, that I want to go into more detail about, and that is converting the heat energy from sun rays into more light. The year is 2013. At a research facility in Stanford University, scientists have created a heat-resistant thermal emitter. What is this, you ask? It is a device that can convert sunlight, a mixture of visible UV and infrared light, into solely infrared light. This is very helpful for silicon solar panels because they can only transform infrared light into electricity. Furthermore, visible and UV light rays, having a higher energy, are wasted by silicon solar panels as heat. So this heat-resistant thermal emitter can not only prevent the heating up of a solar panel, but can also make more light for it available to use to create electricity. This technology, called thermal photovoltaics, I'm just gonna write it on the notebook here, is pretty much the modern day technology of solar panels and really represents the growing future of solar energy. Over the last 1,190 words of this video, you have just learned the basics behind solar panels and how they use two kinds of silicon to create a magnetic field within it. You've learned that a solar panel's greatest weakness can ironically be heat, something the sun produces abundances of. You've also seen many different ways solar panels can have their temperature regulated, including a method that, to this day, is still under development. I hope this video has helped unravel your confusions in a relatively new source of energy, as it is clear that the world's future energy needs will be heavily, if not completely, reliant on solar panels.